Hello and welcome back to my studio. I am here with some new supplies that I ordered probably about a week ago, but they came in over the weekend while I was out of town, so I haven't had a chance to play with them yet, so I thought, why not play along? So here's the things that I ordered. I did order a new gel plate from Gel Press. This is a 4-inch round. Why did I order it? Because I don't have a 4-inch round. I have a 6-inch. So I thought this one would be a fun little size to add on to my collection of gel plates. And then the other things I ordered, and I'll get these out of the package because I know they're really kind of shiny. But from Dina Wakley, she has these 2 new sets of transparencies. This one is, it's called Typography Set 1. So you'll see it as it comes out, but it's all different kinds of lettering and words. And then this set is called Focal Set 1. So it has some silhouettes, and it also has some great moon and sun, which that was the main reason I bought it. And then I also bought her new colors that come in the gloss. These are the fluorescents that she released in a paint last year, but now she has them in the gloss format. So if you've seen her glosses before, you may notice a change. They used to all come with the spray tops, and I know personally that's very rarely how I actually used them. I would usually unscrew the spray top and pour it onto my surface. So now they come with a dropper bottle, which I really like. And then I just found out that you can order dropper tops for all of your other ones. So I'm probably going to go ahead and do that because that is how I use them most of the time. And if you don't like the dropper top, you can also order the spray tops. So whichever way. I just get tired of cleaning the spray tops because I'm not really good at cleaning stuff. So for me, this is a lot easier. Now I will say my pigment is fairly settled at the bottom. So I'm going to have to give these a pretty good shake before we get to using them. But I got 5 colors. If I didn't mention, I ordered all of this from Joggles, so I'll drop a link to their website. I'm on the East Coast. I'm in the middle of Florida, and I will say I think it comes out of Rhode Island, and typically things ship either same day, or if I order later in the day, they ship the next day. And I usually do the faster shipping, and it's here so quick. So I love using them. So the colors I got are Radical, Tubular, Legit, Bodacious, and Gnarly. So immediately you think 80s neon. So I have played around with these glosses on a gel plate before, but never exclusively just with the glosses. I've always mixed them. So I've used like some of Dina's paint or some other paint, and then I've gone ahead and used the glosses. So today what I want to do is just try the gloss, especially now that they have these great little squeezy tops, that will go ahead and set everything up. Let me just grab my scissors to get these open. So I wanted to try these actually on the transparencies. And after we do the first one, I'll probably be able to tell you if I like it or not, but that's not why I bought the transparencies, and it's not why I bought the gloss, but when they showed up, I was like, So we're going to see what happens. So I'm going to start out with, this is Bodacious. So just trying to get it all mixed around. I'm going to go ahead and grab my new gel plate out. And if you remember now, Jelly Arts and Gel Press recommend you get rid of these plastic that they come with. So I don't throw them away. I will keep them and use them as palettes most likely, because then I can also use them to cut up later on after they're all full of paint. So I have my gloss ready, and let's go ahead and get these transparencies out. I'm going to start with the Focals set 1. I'm going to move the other one aside so that the glare, I know these are always so shiny on camera. So let's see which one. I'll pull out both of the ones that have silhouettes and see. So my thought is gloss on here and then creating a background on the back of the transparency. So I think that one actually looks really cool. Yeah, let's try that one first. So I've got it pretty well mixed. I still see some of the pigment sitting at the bottom, but I think I've gotten it mixed up. Now when I use anything that has a squeezy top, so a gloss, an ink, anything, I like to keep it all the way in and just squeeze and release a few times, just in case there's any pigment stuck up in the dropper. You can go ahead and flush it out. And then I pull it all the way up so it's out of the bottle and completely empty it. Shake it out a little. So then I'm fairly certain that what I'm going to pick up now is going to be a nice mixed gloss. So one thing I have learned over time is that less on your gel plate to start with is better. So these are very watery, which they're supposed to be. It's more like an ink. And like I said, I've never used these straight. I've always mixed them with another acrylic product. So it'll be interesting to see what we get. So I have the gloss on there, and now I'm just gonna kind of place her where I think I want her and press down. The nice thing about using a transparency is you can see exactly what you're doing. And I think I'm gonna let it just dry there for a minute or two. I'll see if I can, just gonna zoom in. See if you can, that little bit of glare is kind of annoying, but if we can just see what is going on. Like I said, it's very watery, so it's created like these little pockets. So the idea I had was to do multi-layers of the gloss, and that's why I kind of want to let them dry. Now, since I haven't just used gloss before on my plate, I'm not sure how long this is going to take to dry. So I may just let it dry and then come back to you, and then we can keep adding some other colors. The other nice thing is if I get a bubble, say if I had a bubble like in a weird spot of her face, I can just kind of push it around while it's still wet, which is a nice way to be able to play around with these. So she has a nice cast of purple on her face, and I think that's going to be really cool once it dries. So I'm going to go ahead and just take a break, do something else, and let it dry, and then we'll come back and see what it looks like. Okay, so it hasn't been long enough, but as I sat here, I started thinking that this may take forever to dry, because typically when you're gel printing, the paper will absorb, whereas this plastic is never going to absorb. So although it looks really cool on the plate, and I love all of this, this is still moving around. So I want to go ahead and pull it off. And I'm going to go back to the technique I typically used, which was using some sort of acrylic product with it. So I think I'm still going to get a little bit. So I do have a little bit of color on there, but it's very light. I'm just going to stamp off what's left. That's the other nice thing about working with these little plates, is they're very easy to just grab and move around. And I'm going to go ahead and grab, I had these handy. You can use any acrylic paint, but I had some Titan Buff that's in a fluid. So this is what I would typically have done. I put a very thin layer on this size plate. Right now I have 3 drops, so it's super thin. And I've added that down. 3 drops may actually be just a tiny bit too much. And I'm just trying to get it as smooth as I can. One of the things I used to worry about the most was that my paint was going to dry on my plate, and so I felt like I had to work really fast. But I found that that's not necessarily true, at least in my environment. If you're working in a really dry environment, that might be a different story. So I have that thin layer down, and now I'm going to add my gloss spray, well, my gloss dropper now on top of that, and come back. I'm going to do the same face, just trying to line it up again and press that down. Now again, I can play around with the bubbles I'm seeing in her face. So if there's something in a place that I don't really want, I can just move that around. And now I'm going to let this dry again. So I moved that first one just off to the side so it can keep drying, but I'm thinking I want to just play around with this one in a different way. So I'm going to flip it over. I mean, you can use these either way. There's one side that is definitely glossier than the other. So you can decide. I actually kind of like this matte look now that I flipped it over. Decisions. Fortunately, these transparencies come with 2 sheets of each, so you don't have to make a firm decision. I'm going to go ahead and play on the back. So the design has more of a matte appearance, and that's how you can kind of tell it's the back. And then I'm going to grab some of these warmer colors and just play around with those directly on the sheet with my brayer. Because like I said, on the gel plate it's going to take quite a while to dry. So I want it to keep playing around and see what else I could do with these. I know that I can paint on the back of them. I know that I can, you know, just use them as black images on a journal page, but I wanted to try something different that I haven't done with them before. And I'm really, this one that has the birds like coming out of the back of her head is like really enticing to me. So this one is Radical. It's like a fluorescent orange. So I'm going to start with just a couple of drops in the black area. And I think I also want to use this yellow, which is Gnarly. It's really hard for me to use these and not have like an 80s Valley Girl accent when I say their names, because this is my era. I just love, I love a little pop of neon in everything. Don't always use it because it's not always handy, but I do love a neon, and that's my 80s child coming out. So I'll add just a couple drops. So all of those drops are on. I'm going to try to zoom in a little more for you. So those drops are on the black part of the transparency. And I'm just going to take my brayer and I'm going to try to follow that line of birds as close as I can and just see what I get. I know because of the fluidity of this, I'm going to get a lighter color, but that's what I really want. I just want kind of a hint of color. So let's try if I add a little bit more. Again, I'm adding it to the back where the areas are black. And just see if I can get, I'm actually going to grab, I have a smaller brayer. Let's try this one so I have a little bit less area to control. So just adding a little bit there. You know, I could even, if I grab one of my old gift cards, if I wanted to keep it in line with the birds, I could kind of just cut in here and push that extra gloss spray so that it just stays where the birds are. So I'm going to go ahead and let that one dry now and see what we get. All right, so this one I admit I did hit with my hair dryer on cool because I was able to get some drips going and I wanted to make sure that I captured those. Like I said, it's not a super bright color, which is not what I want. I want just a little hint of color behind them. And I really love the drips in here. And then this one, we're going to go ahead and pull off of our gel plate and see what we have. So it's not moving around. I think we're pretty well done. Still have a little bit left on there, so I'll just flip that around. But see how it creates almost like a moon behind her, which I think is going to be really cool. And it has just that little tint of purple to it. So I think it'll be fun just to cut that little piece out and use her like over a page in one of my journals. I think that'll be really great. There. So now we can see just that little, let me put her on here. I just want to put her on something so that it's a little easier to see. So just that little bit behind her, I think it's just another interesting way to go ahead and use these transparencies. And I'm going to keep playing and see what else. I know in the past I have stenciled behind them, so I may go ahead and try that again, but I just want to play around with them. So hope you guys had some fun, and I'll see you again in the studio. Happy arting.